All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. And this might be the last of the newer comics that I've ordered. I basically filled up my PayPal credit at this point. And that's one of the reasons why I have to do the auction that I'm doing. But I was able to squeeze this last purchase in. It was, in my opinion, a steal. I'm taking a chance on it because, like you see in the title of this video, the eBay person that I bought this from only showed one image, and that was the front cover. No back cover, no inside the book, nothing. So, if it had a 0 rating, I wouldn't have touched this. But the person had good rating system with a lot of sales. So I decided to take the chance. So we're going to find out if it was legitimately what they said it was by doing an unboxing live. So I already see some people in. We got GT Key Comic, one of my moderators. Always good to see you. Silver Age Surfer _ Comics, another one of my moderators. Welcome. And Lee Smith, glad to see you. Now, before I start this, I just want to remind people, this coming Friday, only 3 days away, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, even though the thumbnail from yesterday says 4 p.m., the auction, my live auction, is Friday, this Friday, that's the 21st, at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I did a video yesterday doing a sneak preview of all the comics I'm going to be selling in that auction. Now, if you haven't seen that video, and a lot of people haven't, I mean, I've been getting a lot less views lately, unfortunately, but hey, you only need one person to buy something to make it worthwhile. But I did a video yesterday showing all of the books, which means if you check out that video, you have the opportunity before the auction ever happens to make an offer on one of those or several of the comics and be able to acquire them before the auction ever happens. So hopefully you'll check out the video that I did yesterday. And yeah, it's for my power viewers and ultra power viewers. You get a chance to be able to get the comic before the auction ever starts. And like I say all the time, 95 to 98% of the people who buy comics from me either buy before the auction starts or after the auction's finished. The last auction I did, 0 people bid on the day of the auction, and I still made several sales before and afterwards. So there's a lot of key books. I showed all of them yesterday. I didn't go into full detail because otherwise it would have been an incredibly long video. But if you want information on something you might be interested in, you want to see more pictures of it, just contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. So, with that being said, let me just cancel that. All right. Let's give a shout out to my Patreon members. We got a new Patreon member this month. So, we're going to do shout out. Anybody that joins my Patreon and does any level, in other words, the minimum on Patreon is $2 a month. So, I don't require a minimum. But if you become a Patreon member of mine at patreon.com/WeLoveComics, no space, every single video I do a shout out to all my Patreon members. If you want me to, instead of just your first name, because I'm not going to give your full name, I'm not going to put somebody's information out there, and I'm not going to disclose the dollar amount, because that's not something that I want to put out there for anybody. But if you want, instead of like your first name, if you want your social network listed or your YouTube channel listed, or maybe you have an eBay store, let me know and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. So basically you're getting advertisement, which makes whatever amount you put in the Patreon tax deductible. But let's give our shout outs to Carl, Sith, Scott, Michael B, Kevin W, James R, our newest member Herbert R, welcome. And last but not least, the only one so far that's asked me to mention that they have an Instagram. So if you go to Silver Age Surfer _ Comics on Instagram, go give him a follow. Tell him We Love Comics sent you. He is right here actually in the live chat, so he can give you some details about his page if he wants to. But like I said, anybody that joins my Patreon, if you want me to do what Silver Age Surfer _ Comics asked me to do, no problem with doing that. Again, no minimum amount. So thank you to our newest member and to those that are there. I'll do this every time for as long as you are a paid member. So welcome. And I'm also looking to trade for some comics. I did a video a couple of days ago showing many comics that I'm willing to trade, some big boy stuff, to find comics like Amazing Fantasy 15, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 first print, Batman 2, Wonder Woman 1, All-Star Comics #8, yada yada yada. If you have any of these or know anybody that has one of these, maybe an extra one, you never know. There are people with multiple copies of Grail books. I would love to do a trade with you. The books that I showed are not the only ones that are available for trade. Any book that I have, you can at least inquire about. Or, like I've shown many times, my Star Wars figures or collectibles. If you think something that can be on my shelf will help get a trade done, I have no problem with at least hearing your offers. Now, I do not mind paying a little bit extra for a trade, but I'm not going to go to the point where I'm giving somebody like a $5,000 advantage. I mean, I would love to own one of these books, but I'm not going to give away stuff to get something. There's a difference between wanting something and needing something. So trades, avoid the government. You don't have to have them putting their hand out asking for a percentage of your hard labor. You don't have to worry about paying taxes on a trade. So if you have a $10,000 book, just imagine the taxes you're going to have to pay on that if you sell it. But if you do a trade, you don't have to worry about that stuff. So it's a good way to save money, and it's a way for people to be able to acquire comics without having the actual physical funds to be able to do it. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend to people get multiple copies of comics, because it will help you. So with that being said, hopefully you'll check out the live auction on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Here is the book. Now, normally they would put these in, not manila folders, but they would put them in a thinner one. I asked them if they could do a box. They didn't do that, but at least they put the Fragility words on there. And I got a super chat, so thank you. Life is Good did a super chat. Thank you. It says, a couple cans of cat food. Good luck with your auction, buddy. Thank you. And yes, the majority of the Patreon members help me acquire not only the comic books and get the PGX books continue to be graded, but also the money goes towards me paying bills and also buying cat food. Because let me tell you, a 60-case can of canned cat food goes for about $42 and change plus tax. I go through a case every 3 days. So it's not easy to do. So thank you. That was very generous of you, and I appreciate that. So let's show this book. Now, I have not opened it yet, so I'm hoping that this person has the comic that they said they would. We're going to find out live, and then I'll explain to you. If this is what it's supposed to be, I've only seen 2 of these for sale on eBay. Now, that doesn't mean there's only 2 in existence, because obviously I have one, which means that it'd be at least 3. But even with sold comics, I've only seen 2 of them. So this is a rare book. And I always tell people, they put a little note, says, thank you, all the best. They taped it up, so they put a folder in here. So they did add some extra security, and that's always appreciated. That's why I always tell people, contact your sellers, ask them how you'd like it to be shipped. Worst comes to worst, they don't do it, but you can't control that. But most of the time they do listen, so even though they didn't ship it in a box, they still had it well protected. So that is always appreciated, and that's due to communication. All right, so they did put it in a top loader, so extra security. I'll give a shout out to them. It's their eBay store is called, well, you know what? Let's wait until I find out if this is what they said it is. Because if it's not, I don't want to put their name out there and make it bad. But let's look at this. Now let's see. So far, the comic is at least what the image was. Now, like I said, this seller only showed the front cover. Didn't show the inside, didn't show the back of the book, just one picture. Now, I took a chance on it only because it didn't have 0 ratings. It had a bunch of different ratings, so that gave me some confidence. Plus, I also know with eBay's protection plan, if this is a person that tried to take advantage or misrepresent or just make an accident mistake, that can happen, I would get my money back. So I had nothing to lose, but maybe a couple of days of, I can't even say money being held because I used my PayPal credit. So let's show the book. So we got X-Men 94. Now, before you click off, because somebody's going to be like, oh, clickbait, this is not a rare book. Let's open it up so I can show you, and hopefully it will be there so you can understand. I don't do clickbait. All right, let's show the back first. So the back is intact. Like I said, they did not do an image of the back. Now, it has some wrinkling, but they're non-color breaking creases. So this looks like easily between, after a pressing, between a 5.5 and a 6.5. Oh, we got another super chat. Let me show. Silver Age Surfer _ comics. That's one of my Patreon members, and he's also a moderator. He said, I saw a group chat on Patreon from We Love Comics. I hope that gets some traction. It's a good idea. Yeah, I just tried that. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up around 5:30 in the morning, and I just happened to go on my Patreon. I didn't even get a notification of the new Patreon member, so I'm going to check it periodically in case somebody joins in. I don't want them to miss out. And I saw that new thing, and I thought that'd be a good idea. So hopefully somebody will partake in that by being a Patreon member. And it might be good communication. What it is I just want, it's like a chat, like a group chat for my Patreon members. So I figured maybe if people that are on my Patreon want to discuss, comics that they might want to trade or looking for, it might get people to interact. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you for that, Silver Age Surfer. All right, so this is legit. So, how many of you have seen X-Men 94, the Mark Jewelers variant? This is a rare book. Now, I don't know how rare, because remember, between 5 and 7% of a total print run is dedicated to the Mark Jewelers variants. Now, this book came out, I believe, around 1974, 1975. So, correct me. Oh, good. You did that, Silver Age? Excellent. So, he started the chat. Hopefully, some of the Patreon members will check that out. Oh, Lee Smith just did a super chat. Boy, you guys are being nice. Well, you're always nice, but that's very kind of you. You guys are awesome. Lee Smith, thank you for that. How many of you have seen these? Now, again, like I was saying, this book came out, like I said, either 74 or 75, correct me if I'm wrong. So how many of these have been lost? How many of those had people use or tear out the Mark Jewelers variant? How many of them got destroyed? Because like I said, there are only 2 of these for sale on eBay. And I even checked sold comics. Including mine, there were 2. So this is a very rare book that many people may not know about. Silver Age says you can't see me. Try refreshing. Is anybody else having a problem? If you refresh, you should be able to see me because no one else has said anything. So as long as you guys can see me on the camera, just let me know. But yeah, try refreshing and let me know. So I want to ask you guys, whether you're watching this live or watching this later on, what would be the most you would pay for this book? Now, if you want, before you ask, go look on eBay, because a 4.5 of this book is selling ungraded, I believe, for $799, and a graded version of a 4.5 is selling for like $2,400, which I think would probably be a little too much. But I guess it depends. This is actually, like I said, after pressing and dry cleaning, this would easily be between a 5.5 up to a 6.5. Okay, so GT Key Comics says the video's good. So Silver Age, it might be on your, it would be on your end. Just try and refresh. So in the comment section, if you're watching this later on, or in the live chat, if you're watching this live, what would be the most you would have paid for this book if you had the opportunity to buy it? So I'm going to give people a minute or two to make up their minds. I always recommend people join the live chat, because at the end of the video, I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. And you don't even have to be a subscriber. You just have to mention something, at least one comment in the live chat. So let me give a shout out to the seller. So they ended up, it ended up being good. Okay, Silver Age says it's good now. Yeah, if that ever happens out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't see an image, try refreshing, and that usually fixes it. The store is called Kelly Victory Comics. They did a good job with the packaging. So GTK Comics said $1,700 for this book. Now again, this is X-Men 94 Mark Jewelers variant. Okay, so it's $1,700 graded by CGC. I was trying to remember offhand what I thought it was. So a raw copy would sell, there's somebody selling it for $7.99, but they're saying it's about a 4.5. This is about a 5.5 to a 6.5. So I would love to know what you guys would, the maximum you would pay. Now remember, your price, remember eBay also charges taxes and shipping. So keep that in mind. So we got Silver Age Surfer said he would pay up to $890 for this book. SP Comics said $750. And again, if you missed out, I opened it up. It does have the Mark Jewelers variant. So this is a rare book. I don't know how many of them are in existence, but I know there's not a lot of these. And with the X-Men coming to the MCU, I mean, just having the regular copy of X-Men 94 is a great book to own. Mark Jewelers variant is just the rarest of the rare of this version of the book. So this is going to be a pretty good collectible if you can find it. So I'm not going to wait anymore. If anybody else wants to leave, how much they would pay for it. Now, this was a newly listed book. It had a buy it now and best offer. At the buy it now, I would have bought it. But when I see buy it now best offer, that means the person's willing to take less money. So this was a newly listed comic, and this is why I always tell people deals are always out there. You have to put out the effort. You have to take the time. You have to know the value of books, the rarity of books. Putting out just dumb luck, you're never going to succeed. So Life is Good also chimed in. He said he would pay up to $668. SP Comics said, would Mark Jewelers be considered manufactured rare? I can't say it would be manufactured rare, because it is a variant like a Canadian price variant. They just see with the, you may not know, just in case, and for people who may not know what a Mark Jewelers variant is, a Mark Jewelers variant was, the comic was made specifically to be put exclusively in military bases, or like a store or two around a military base, to try and get military people who would, more often than not, if they were in a relationship before they were sent out overseas, or, you know, fighting or whatever, you know, a lot of them would ask people to marry them because it would actually just make things easier. A lot of military people can explain that situation. So they geared this jewelry store called Mark Jewelers only to be sold in military bases, or, like I said, stores right around them. So you could not get one of these at, for example, like a 7-Eleven or a comic book store, because there were some in the 70s, just not as many as there are today. You would not find this version on the shelf. And like I said, it's between 5% and 7% of the total print run at the time these were printed. Now, when you're talking Copper Age versions of these Mark Jewelers variants, they're pretty rare. Just imagine something that was made in the mid-70s. How many of them are gone? How many of them have had their coupon utilized? How many of them didn't see the value of them for decades? How many of them got destroyed? or lower graded. So this is absolutely, if you can get your hands not only on a Mark Jewelers variant, but on the DC version, they have what's called Whitman variants. Now, Whitman variants would have a diamond here where the price is, and there would usually be where the barcode is, it would usually be just a white box. Some of them actually would say in this corner, but it could also be on the top, it would also say Whitman. Those were like in 3-packs. Those are also, not always, but also very rare books, and are books that will acquire a premium. So definitely X-Men 94 Mark Jewelers variant. Key book to get, very rare to find. Now, to give you the price, because I always disclose prices. The lowest one somebody here said they would pay for it was $668. This person had a buy it now, newly listed comic for $434.25. Very interesting number for them to use as a buy it now. I contacted them, and we settled on an agreement of $390 for a, like I said, between a 5.5 and a 6.5 after pressing and dry cleaning. Mark Jewelers variant of X-Men 94. So after taxes and after shipping, it came out to $425.81. This book, in my opinion, I would say close to a steal, because of the rarity of this book, and with the X-Men coming to the MCU, and the fact you're starting to see, I really think, in my honest opinion, if the Deadpool Wolverine movie does as well as many are projecting, if they didn't troll everybody with only giving the best parts and people find out that it's just another one of the DEI garbage messes, if that movie actually succeeds, it's going to bring some buzz back into the comic book realm. Anybody says that there is superhero fatigue doesn't understand what's going on. There isn't. Of course, you're going to have some people that are tired of things. That happens. But it's not superhero fatigue. It's DEI garbage inclusion, nonsense, poor writing, bad movies and TV shows just to put stuff out fatigue. The amount of people that have already purchased tickets for Deadpool, including myself, should show Disney that maybe they should stop with their nonsense and go back to what fans love. If they start doing that, and I think the Deadpool Wolverine movie is going to start turning that around, because you're already starting to see comic levels that were going down for a while, not only leveling, but starting to go back on the rise again. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to anything that could be potentially used as an investment or speculation, you're going to have peaks and valleys. I'm amazed at how many people out there, not just in comics, but in any kind of speculation YouTube channel, where they panic when things go down. Now, if it's a stock where a company's going out of business, yes, that's when you want to panic, because they can go to zero. I really think, in my opinion, comics are going to start rising again in price. Now, will they hit 2022 levels? Probably not, because people got a lot of quote-unquote free money, even though with inflation and devaluation of dollars, they ended up making a killing on all the quote-unquote free money. But people were putting money into speculations and ultimately losing out in the long run if you overspent. I was able to not have to worry about during those times because I was always waiting for deals, and that's why I tell people, don't base things on emotion. So I was able to acquire X-Men 94 in the Mark Jewelers variant for $425.81 with shipping and handling, because it was a newly listed book. Deals are always out there. If you think it's just luck, I mean, have you seen how many comics I've gotten? I mean, just in the Mark Jewelers variants. Before this year, I had one comic that was a Mark Jewelers variant, and I bought it years ago. Wasn't even trying to seek out that it was a variant. It just happened I had one that I bought years ago that ended up being a Mark Jewelers variant. This year, because I've been searching for them and looking for them when they started falling into my lap on eBay, I now have probably 25 to 35 Mark Jewelers variants, this being my latest one. If you put in the effort, if you try and make deals happen, if you give yourself a confidence boost, if you know what you're doing, you're always going to find deals. SP Comics says, do you have X-Men 120, 121? I do. As a matter of fact, that's a book. Those are books I highly recommend people get. That's the first appearance of Alpha Flight. Also, don't forget X-Men number 109, which is the first appearance. I forget his name because I think they changed it over the years, but he was the leader of Alpha Flight. So X-Men 109 is another comic to get, but X-Men 120 and 121 is the first cameo appearance of Alpha Flight and the first full appearance of Alpha Flight. Rumors are there are going to be appearances. Now, whether they end up like a movie, who knows? Maybe, because remember when Guardians of the Galaxy had a movie, how many people thought that was ridiculous? Well, it ended up being arguably one of the best MCU franchises. Same thing with Ant-Man. They thought that was a joke. Second one was okay. The second one was decent. Third one was just the DEI nonsense. But the first one did very well and surprisingly well. So who's to say? Maybe Marvel hires James Gunn to do a Alpha Flight movie. You never know. Yes, Vindicator. Thank you for that, for issue 109. Or Weapon Alpha. See, we got people that are knowledgeable. That's why I love my subscribers. So I want to show people, I don't do this to kind of brag, because not for nothing, I've been unemployed since October. I don't have much to brag with. And the only reason I'm able to get comics like this is I have PayPal credit, which with this one I maxed out. So that's one of the many reasons why I'm selling some of my comics from my auction on Friday. But without PayPal credit, I wouldn't be able to get these books. So the idea is, if you can find a steal and you can use PayPal credit, let's say you find a book that's worth $1,000 and you find it for $300. Well, using PayPal credit would be great, because then you can acquire the book. You could turn around and sell it for $800-900, which would be below its value. Turn around, pay off that PayPal, because remember, you can get up to 6 months. There was some programs where I got 2 years to pay and have money left over to buy another comic. So you can actually start a comic book business by doing stuff like this. Because I promise, like I said, if you look at the people that commented, the lowest person that said they would pay for this book was $668. So after taxes and shipping, it would be $700. I bought it for $400. If I turned around and sold this right now for $700, I can make a $300 profit having the book for 1 day. But of course, I want to get this graded, because I don't want people to assume a grade. I want people to know a grade. So this will be one of the books I send in next month to get graded. But I want to show people, don't get stuck in a 9-to-5 job, a job that you hate, a job that can fire you at any moment, a job that tells you that you can't take a day off. You can work for yourself. So yes, am I living a life of luxury? Not at the moment, because a lot of my investments are to save up, because this house we're living in is supposed to be a temporary house. This is not our forever house. So my collections are supposed to be either for our forever house, or if, God forbid, I die or something happens to me, my wife will never have to worry, because she'll be left all of this stuff. So I can't sell everything, because I want to make sure either we have a future together or my wife has a future if I'm no longer there. Because I am about 15 years older than her, and she's in much better health than I am. She's a vegan and she takes very good care of herself. But this is a way to be able to have income. So maybe every 3 or 4 months I have an auction, sell a couple of the comics, pay off some bills, buy some extra cat food, store that up, and any money that might be left over, I can invest in a couple more comics and repeat the process. So I want you guys to be able to learn how to do this stuff. Don't listen to sellers and other eBayers or YouTubers, regardless if they're comic videos or not, telling you, oh, you can't make money in a downturn time, or you can't make money on key issues, or deals aren't out there. I show time and time again, and a lot of these are newly listed books, so you got to be quick. You got to put in the effort, and you will be rewarded. So hopefully you'll appreciate this. If anybody was kind enough to hit the like button, I always appreciate it. It does not show I don't know what it is with YouTube. After like 3 or 4 videos, you no longer can see the likes. So if anybody wants to hit like button, thank you. If you already did, I appreciate it. Let's do our surprise subscriber shout-outs. But first, I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm doing the auction on Friday. I did a sneak preview yesterday, so check out that video. If you want to make an offer on any of those books, if I have an offer I can't refuse or I think is a fair offer, it will no longer be for sale on the auction. You will be able to acquire it beforehand. There are payment plans available. So if you have a collection of $599 to $999, you can use a 4-month payment plan with no interest. And if you spend $1,000 or more, you get 6-month payment plan if you need it. Of course, if you pay early, you get the book early. I can accept Cash App or Venmo, and you'll get a free comic if you use that. I also accept PayPal, and if you send me a money order or cash, which I've had people do in the past several times, you'll get 5% off your total order. Now, somebody was asking me the other day if they can use PayPal credit. I don't think PayPal allows PayPal credit for a payment, but you don't need to worry about that because, like I said, I can do either a 4-month or 6-month payment plan. And if you're somebody that's purchased from me before multiple times, and I'll know who you are, if you need an extension, like an extra month or 2 for the payment plan to be able to acquire one of the books, ask me, and I'll be able to work with you. So I would love to know what you thought about this book. I'd love to know what you thought about the AI art. A lot of times when I do the images, I try and do images that are different from what the comic is, because most people, if they knew that you could see images of X-Men or X-Women, which are X-Men these days, Bronze Age Key, you'd probably assume it's an X-Men book. So every now and then I might do a Batman or a Harley Quinn or a Joker or, Poison Ivy or something just to throw you off base. So I'd love to hear your opinion, what you think of the AI art. Leave a comment. Tell me what you would have paid for that book if you think I got a good deal. And I am so looking forward to that one getting graded to see what it comes back as. But if you can find an X-Men 94 Mark Julas variant, get it. And if you have an X-Men 94, open it up and see if you own one. Because for many years, people did not know, the same like the Whitman variants and the Canadian price variants, people did not know what they had and could have sold it to you years ago and you didn't even realize it. So knowledge is power. So our shout outs today, we're going to go with Joe Richardson, and we're going to go with Sequential Geek, who just came in. Congratulations, you guys are today's surprise subscriber shout outs, which means once the video uploads, if you want to place a link in the comment section of either a YouTube video or YouTube channel of yours, or you'd rather do a link to one of your social networks, or if you'd rather do a link to maybe you have an eBay store or an Amazon store, I'll let you decide which link you want to do. Keep in mind, all links have to be approved, so once you hit enter, it will go directly to spam, because I want to make sure trolls and spammers don't put any inappropriate things on my channel. So if it is approved, and it means I did verify it, you guys check it out. But make sure when you leave the link, don't just leave a link. Introduce yourself, tell people where they're going to be going if they click the link. The more effort you put in, the more likely you're going to get something in return. So also, become one of my Patreon members. You could do the minimum amount each month and get a shout out every time. And again, I can make sure that I list your Instagram account, like Silver Age Surfer _comics, or if you have an eBay store or whatever, I can do that for you, no problem. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's give our shout-outs a shout-out. A special thank you to the people that were kind enough to do the super chats. That was very nice of you. I really appreciate those kind of things. So Lee Smith, Silver Age Surfer _comics, and Life is Good. Really appreciate the kindness. Hopefully I'll see you on Friday. If you know anybody that wants to buy some comics, and if you saw the comics I have for sale, the worst comic, if you want to even consider it worst, is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. But there are books like New Mutants 98, Amazing Spider-Man #3, Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men #1. I sell big boy stuff. You got to spend money to make money. And with all the movies coming out, and with Deadpool Wolverine looking like it's maybe going to be the first billion-dollar movie in a while, I really think things are going to start turning around, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for anybody that shares the link. Check out the video I did yesterday about all of the books that I am going to be selling at the auction. If you are interested in any of them and you want to make an offer before the auction, contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. And with that being said, it is not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Have a great day, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Peace out, my peeps.